I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you'd already know that the title of tonight's show is Good Intentions Meet Resistance. And that is because an unusual thing is happening, which is very good this week, and it is that there are two very strong signs in the heavens which are both ruled by the same planet. And it would have very good intentions because that planet is Venus. And Venus rules, getting along with people, peace and partnership, and it rules compromise and diplomacy when it's in Libra. And it is in Libra right now because the Sun, Venus, and Mercury now are all in Libra. And that is the sign of partnership in one way or another. It also is the sign of negotiation and of the law and all legal contracts as well. And those three, so all of those things are very well favored because Venus is the ruler of the sign and it's in that sign. And it's part of a grand trine in the air signs. And that's 5 planets in the air signs that are all trining each other. So that's wonderful. But the other sign that Venus also rules is Taurus. And Taurus is very strong this week as well. And that's because it has an exalted planet in it. And the exalted planet is the moon in Taurus. And it is conjuncting Uranus, a planet of sudden volatility and surprising change, and Uranus is retrograde. But these two are conjunct. Uranus is at 18 degrees and the exalted moon is at 21 degrees, so that's within a 7-degree orb. Within their orbits, they're conjuncting. And that is very good because that simply means that since Taurus is a fixed financial sign, it is indicating that, first of all, some people can have a very expensive taste right now. Taurus rules high-price real estate, and it rules quality items and, nice homes, nice cars, nice food. In fact, it does rule gourmet food and wine. But those 2 planets in Taurus are part of a trine in the earth signs as well. And that is why you could have a lot of good intentions this week, and they are rather well favored. Yeah, I mean, if you're sort of thinking of talking to somebody or presenting an idea of yours, this is a very good time to do that. Or if you're looking for new partners, this is a good time to do it. And that includes looking for expensive items as well. So in the air signs, the Sun, Venus, and Mercury in Libra are trining Mars in Gemini. Mercury rules Gemini, so it's trining the sign it rules. That makes it strong too. And then that Mars in Gemini, besides trining the 3 planets in Libra, is trining Saturn, which is retrograde in Aquarius. And Aquarius rules the future. But of these 5 planets, Saturn is the only one that is retrograde. And so it simply means your future plans may have to be redone or rescheduled in some way, but that doesn't detract from your ability to discuss them and promote them and maybe pick up new partners that can help you with them, because this grand trine is very strong in the air signs. And the air signs are very good at communicating. And they are sort of idea people. They get a lot of ideas. Gemini rules conversation, and it rules communication and easy transitional change. And Aquarius rules invention, and it rules the future. So this is a time to concentrate on what your plans are going forward right now, because at least you could talk about them or put them down in some sort of format so that you could present them to other people, because they would be very receptive to your ideas. And in the earth signs, that Uranus and Uranus, which are conjuncting, and that doubles their strength, are being trined by Pluto in Capricorn, which just went direct last week. And so these three planets, which are very strong, are an indication that your work ideas or your career goals or your investments that you're interested in, or even your long-term pension plans, things like that, are well favored. Pensions and rewards for work well done are ruled by Capricorn, and Taurus is a very hard-working sign. So this is a time when your financial plans could stabilize, or your long-term financial goals could be put into place. And that could be done through perhaps some sort of change in management or in policy that is connected to you, or by you getting some very expert advice on financial matters right now. So maybe the new policies that some new management puts in can benefit you. And also, if you listen to expert advisors right now, it can really help stabilize your financial outlook right now, or certainly the future of your finances. And that is really important these days because it's a sort of uncertain world. And certainly the economy is not in the best shape. So if you want your money to be in the best shape, then you should take advantage of these very strong planets in the earth signs that it can mean, since Pluto in Capricorn rules people at the top, it means that you should go to a very well-respected financial advisor, or it can be that there can be changes in management at the top, and their new policies could benefit you in one way or another. So, where's the resistance? I mean, this sounds pretty good, doesn't it? But the resistance is around. And by resistance, I mean there can be surrounding circumstances. In other words, it's not that you're causing the resistance, but it's around. And it could come in two different forms. One of the forms that you may be exposed to in one way or another is a betrayal. And the reason why that can represent a resistance or obstacles is because Venus, which is at home in Libra, and so is very strong there, is being squared by that powerful Pluto in Capricorn. And whenever Venus is squared or opposed by Pluto or Saturn, it indicates a betrayal. So that's why I'm saying the resistance or the obstacles are involved with surrounding circumstances, something that you may be associated with. There could be a betrayal around somewhere, maybe in your neighborhood, maybe in your workplace. Maybe you're changing your mind about your career goals. And so, maybe you want to move in a different direction. So a betrayal is possible. The second type of resistance or obstacle could be a sudden upset. And that sudden upset can derive from the fact that Uranus is a malefic planet, remember, ruling sudden surprising change. And it's very powerful right now because it's conjuncting that exalted moon in Taurus. But it is retrograde, and it is exactly squaring Saturn in Aquarius, which rules the future and is also a malefic planet and is also retrograde. So these two planets aren't getting along. They can get you in trouble wherever they are, but probably double trouble since they're squaring each other exactly and they're both retrograde. So a sudden upset could occur. That's what Uranus rules anyway. And that sudden upset could be that a financial collapse occurs somewhere. There could be a financial institution that collapses. It could be that there is such a change in the financial conditions of a country that it could have a ripple effect on a lot of people. So that would be a sudden upset. Or it simply could be that people are making changes now in management and in corporations, government agencies, even the heads of countries are making policy changes now, and some of them could be rather upsetting. And so you have to watch out for that. That's what I mean by surrounding circumstances. The resistance is coming from sort of around you. Or if you're not happy in the area that you are working in or living in or whatever, you may want to sort of turn your back on that and move in a new direction. And you probably would have a good reason to do that. So that's why your good intentions could meet some resistance this week. But the good intentions are favored a lot more than the resistance is. But it's just that the resistance could be either a betrayal or a sudden upset. And so you might want to go through life this week being a little bit cautious, but still trying to communicate and still trying to get your finances in good shape, because those are well favored. So I wish you the best of luck on that. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, for you, I think that you have to be a little bit cautious, Aries. For one reason, Jupiter is just about to leave your sign. So you may not have that sort of good luck feeling for a while, because it's going back into Pisces. The other reason why you should be a little bit cautious right now is because there are 5 planets in the cardinal signs that are in a harsh T-cross, all squaring and opposing each other. And that does affect you because yours is a cardinal sign. So Jupiter in your own sign is being opposed by the Sun and Venus and Mercury in Libra. So would some sort of legal fight come out in your favor? I don't think so, Aries. But it doesn't have to be a fight. It would be better if people compromised right now, because there is a legal issue or a partnership issue that looks like it's, there could be different ways of solving a problem right now, but it looks like the people that are willing to negotiate or compromise or end something by coming up with a settlement are probably going to do okay, because there's a grand trine in the air signs. But these 3 planets are opposing your sun sign, and Pluto in Capricorn is squaring your sun sign, which has been doing for years, and it's going to continue to do until 2025. So Aries, and there are no other planets in fire signs. There's nothing in Sagittarius or in Leo. So I think that this is a time when, if you are not out conversing with a lot of people and presenting your ideas, you're probably thinking of them, Aries, because your sign rules new beginnings. And you do still have Jupiter in your sign, even if it's going back into Pisces for a while and leaving your sign. You probably are still full of very good ideas. I would like to suggest that you focus in a little bit more on the money. And by that I mean trying to stabilize your own finances, because the exalted moon and Uranus in Taurus are right ahead of your sun sign. And they're well aspected. So maybe you could work a little bit more on your budget for a while. And the reason why you'd want to do that and stabilize it is because naturally you'd be thinking of something new you want to do. I mean, your sign, that's what your sign rules. So I would do that if I were you. I'm sure you've already got a good idea, Aries, but now the question is, can you afford it? And that's what you need to work on a little bit. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Taurus. Well, Taurus, Venus rules your sign, and so a Taurus likes to work very hard for something that they love or people that they love. This sign of Taurus is the sign of the good provider. So I would say, with Pluto in Capricorn trining the exalted moon and Uranus, which are conjuncting in your sign, Taurus, that this is just an excellent time for you to try to stabilize your finances. And that would be your investments, or it might be your salary at work, or it might be your future career goals, or else a pension or retirement plan. And if you seek expert advice right now, you will get it. You could benefit from that. Or if there is new management in your workplace where you work, they could form new policies that may benefit you as well. So this is a time when you should focus on your long-term financial gains. And you would need expert advice in order to do that. And I suggest that you go to somebody who's got a good reputation for that, and even if they charge you a fee or something, pay it, Taurus. It'll be worth it. Because it isn't just making money that you do well, it's that you have to pay taxes on it all. And a Taurus doesn't like to pay taxes. So some expert advice could help you form investments that are not going to cost you an arm and a leg in the end. And so I suggest that you do that, Taurus. This is just a good time to concentrate on your long-term financial goals and on finding somebody who can help you with that, which you can do. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Gemini. This is an excellent time for you because there's 5 planets in the air signs and they're all trining each other. I don't think you can lose, Gemini, because the Sun, Venus, and Mercury, your own ruler, are in Libra, trining Mars in your sign. And Saturn in Aquarius is also trining your sign. So that means with Venus and Mars trining each other, the men and women can be getting along better now, perhaps being more willing to compromise on things and on issues, so that would be good. But with Saturn also trining Mars, and these are 2 malefic planets, but they're in very good aspect to each other, it simply means, Gemini, that if you wanted to take on an additional burden, and this may be something like a part-time project or another job, part-time job, in addition to the one you already have, you could do it. And you could have the support of somebody who's very knowledgeable, sort of strong, and who wants to back you up. And so if you get an offer to take on some additional responsibility right now, that offer may be coming from somebody that you really respect, or that you admire, or who is pretty high up, or who is associated with a prestigious organization. And I would do that if I were you, Gemini, because Mars is not a loving planet, but it's a very energetic one. And so you'd have the energy to do that. But the fact that all 3 planets in Libra are trining your sun, which is the Sun, Venus, and your own ruler, Mercury, are an indication that there can possibly be a new partnership or better legal terms or something new that is a very appealing idea that you could work on. And yes, you would have the energy for it. And yes, you would have backing from somebody pretty important. So I think if you get any kind of an offer, you should seriously consider it right now, Gemini. And I advise you to say yes. You have very good planets trining your sun, and you've got a very energetic planet in your sun sign. I don't think you can lose, so good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, there aren't a lot of planets in the water signs, so you may feel as if you're a little left out of things, but actually you're not, Cancer, because yours is a cardinal sign. And even though Neptune in Pisces is trining your sun and supporting you, it's retrograde, but it's supporting you. So that means that behind the scenes, you could find out a lot of things about things that had been hidden, but you could also be wanting to act on some good idea that, a good intention that you have had behind the scenes. yourself. And it could have been a sort of a soft idea. A nice idea, but a soft idea. And that could work out for you, Cancer. But because yours is a cardinal sign, and there are already 5 planets in cardinal signs in a harsh T-cross, you do have to watch out for surrounding circumstances that could represent a resistance in one form or another. And so I've mentioned 2 forms: betrayal or some sort of sudden upset. It's the betrayal that you have to worry about. And that is because your sign, Cancer, is being opposed by Pluto in Capricorn. So there could be an issue at work or involving somebody in upper management that is maybe not agreeing with you, or they have their own ideas and you may not necessarily want to follow along with them. So there could be a little hesitation there. But the Sun, Mercury, and Venus in Libra are squaring your Sun. And that can be an indication of a betrayal because Pluto is also squaring the Sun, Venus, and Mercury in Libra. And whenever Pluto and Venus square or oppose each other, it's a sign of a betrayal. So that betrayal could be around you somewhere, Cancer. It may not necessarily be happening to you, but it could be happening to somebody else. Or they may, if you've been in some sort of work group and somebody decides to leave, or management changes and new policies come in and staffs have to be cut, well, that kind of situation would prompt somebody to leave as well. They may have to. I don't necessarily think it's going to happen to you, Cancer, but I think that it's going to happen around you. And yet you can draw comfort from something behind the scenes that is a good idea that you've had, or a very nice person that you know. And so that can be very comforting to you. On the other hand, if there is a sudden upset, which could be generated by the planets in Taurus, particularly Uranus, which rules sudden surprising change, and that Uranus is exactly squaring Saturn in Aquarius, which rules the future. But Cancer, the planets in Taurus always sextile your Sun. Always. So I don't think that a sudden upset is going to catch you by surprise at all. In fact, you might benefit from it instead. And the reason why is that Uranus, that sudden change planet, is conjuncting an exalted moon in Taurus. And the moon is your ruler. And both those planets are sextile your Sun. They're not hurting your Sun at all. And that's why I think if there is some sort of sudden upset anywhere, and it could involve a financial transaction or some sort of something that affects people's finances or investments. Taurus rules investments. I still don't think it's going to really hurt you, Cancer. So the surrounding circumstances to a sudden upset may involve people you know or companies that you deal with. But I don't think that it's going to rock your boat. It might rock somebody else's, but I don't think it's going to rock yours. So I don't think you necessarily have to worry about that. Other than that, it'll be somewhere in your surroundings. You'll hear about that. But I don't think it'll affect you directly. Certainly not adversely, because these planets sextile each other. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Leo. Well, Leo, things are about to change for you. And one of the reasons is your sign has been benefiting for quite a while now because Jupiter has been in Aries and it has been trining your Sun. So that was great, particularly when it was going direct and you could sort of go off and do your thing. You may have been traveling this summer or something like that. But it's retrograde now and it's about to leave Aries. And it's the only planet in a fire sign. And so that sort of leaves you having to think about, what comes next? because there is the possibility that a new beginning does not get off the ground the way you wanted it to. It might be due to some sudden upset, or it might be due to a betrayal, or it might be due to the fact that budgets have had to be cut, and there are going to be staff layoffs, simply because people at the top in companies have got to get through a tough winter, and I think an equally tough spring, and they have to pull back. And that may affect you, Leo, because Uranus and that exalted moon in Taurus are squaring your sun, and they are very strong, but there's nothing in your sun sign. And Jupiter's not giving you too much support right now either, because it's leaving Aries. So there could be trouble with your investments, or with the way your money is being handled. Or it can be that there is some sort of change in financial plans of your employer, for instance, and that could affect you. But since Uranus is retrograde, and Uranus is retrograde in Taurus, which is squaring your sun, and Uranus is exactly squaring Saturn, which is retrograde in Aquarius, and Saturn is opposing your sun sign. You have two malefic planets, Uranus and Saturn, in harsh aspect to your sun sign, and the exalted moon is squaring your sun sign. So, Leo, you probably are going to meet resistance somewhere, in the surrounding circumstances, and I think it's going to have something to do with a financial matter. Because the two planets in Taurus are squaring your sun. And they are actually backed up, but your sign isn't. Because Jupiter's leaving. You can't count on that too much, because it's heading on out and going back into Pisces. So I think that as far as finances go, you might really benefit, Leo, by listening to some expert advice from somebody like a financial counselor who really knows a little bit more about the intricacies of financial markets than you do. And it would be wise to seek their advice, pay them a fee, ask them what their advice is. You could still change your mind. Maybe you'll follow the advice, maybe you won't. But the emphasis now is on the ability, with good intentions, to stabilize your finances. There is a grand trine in the Earth. There's a trine in the Earth signs, and so that should be your first priority, Leo. Because Leos like to live a comfortable life, and your sign is the sign of generosity and extravagance. You have to have money to do that. But this is a better time to try and stabilize your finances, your investments, your career goals, and your long-term retirement plans. And so you should concentrate on that, because you could be subject to a betrayal from changing conditions. And what you want to do is cushion yourself, or at least your money, against harm from a sudden upset or a betrayal. So I hope that you go and ask for good advice, because it would be well worth it, Leo. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Virgo. Well, Virgo, you certainly are going to have the best intentions, I'm sure, because you've got some great planets trining your sun. The exalted moon and Uranus in Taurus, which rules investments and high-priced real estate and, nice, expensive things. Those planets are they're conjuncting each other, so they're doubly strong, and they're both trining your sun sign. And then Pluto, which is now direct in Capricorn, is also trining your sun sign. And then your ruler, Mercury, is right ahead of your sun sign, along with the Sun and Venus in Libra. So this is an excellent time, Virgo, for you to talk to people and converse with them. And it might be about your career goals, or it might be about your long-term retirement plans. you may want to readjust your investments in some way to stabilize them and make them a little safer, but still to be on track for your own retirement goals or your own career goals. You could do that. And on top of that, you may pick up a sort of a nice partner, or you may get an offer to join a group that is doing something with the best intentions. So you may be asked to volunteer for something, or you may be asked to lend your expertise to some charitable goal. And I would advise you to do that. It could mean that you could be making some new friends, Virgo, and they would be very nice people. All those planets in Libra are right ahead of your sun sign. And so your ruler, Mercury, is in good company with the Sun and Venus also in Libra. So this would be a very good time for you to join others or talk about your ideas. Virgo rules modesty. They're very good problem solvers. You may be even asked to help solve a problem. And won't they be surprised when you already have the answers? That's the way a Virgo works. They just love to think. It's a mental sign ruled by Mercury, and it rules analysis. And so you could have already thought of a problem, and you could have thought of the solution. So why don't you go ahead and join other people that are worried about the same problem and give them your ideas? They would really appreciate that. And then you'd be helping them, but you'd also be making some new friends, and that would be nice. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Libra. Well, Libra, you're sitting pretty. And that is because the Sun and Venus, your own ruler, and Mercury are all in your sign, and they have an astounding amount of strong backup because Mars, a malefic planet, and a real energizer, is in Gemini, trining the 3 planets in your sign. So you could have a lot of energy, Libra. You could even wonder where it came from, but you're going to have it. You could also meet some very energetic people that may want you to sort of get going on something. And then Saturn in Aquarius, which is retrograde, is also trining the 3 planets in your sign. And Saturn represents sort of people at the top, or it represents very respectable, time-honored people or institutions or companies that have made a few mistakes, but they've learned from their mistakes, and they have a very good reputation for following through. Or, they know what they're doing. But that Saturn is retrograde in Aquarius, which rules the future. However, it's trining your sun. So there can be somebody fairly influential or someone you've known a long time, Saturn rules time, that is coming into your life or helping you with some decisions that you need to make. And these decisions could involve a legal contract or a partnership or some sort of negotiation that you're interested in. That's fine. But you would be getting great advice from very experienced people, and you'd be meeting people with a lot of energy that just want you to get going anyway, Libra. So that's why I think you're sitting pretty. You couldn't ask for better planets in your sun sign than the ones you've already got. So do not waste your time this week, Libra. Get out there and meet people and join others, and do not worry about what they're going to think about you. They're going to just love you. I mean, the planet of charm, Venus, is in your sign, and it rules your sign anyway. So if anybody knows how to be charming, it's you, Libra. So you should get out there and spread that charm around, because you'll benefit from that, but so will a lot of other people. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Scorpio. Scorpio, this is a time when, yes, you still have help behind the scenes and comfort from someone behind the scenes who's very sympathetic to you and nice, kindly person behind the scenes that thinks well of you and has your best interests at heart. Okay, so you can benefit from that because Neptune which has been in Pisces a long time, and it's going to stay there for a while, is trining your sun. But you could have the best intentions this week. I think almost everybody could have. But there could be resistance from surrounding circumstances that could affect you, Scorpio. And the reason why is that Uranus and that exalted moon in Taurus, another fixed financial sign, are both opposing your sun sign, and they're conjuncting. They're very strong because they're together now, and that doubles their strength. So there can be some problems with your investments, and it can be that you may have to realign your investments in one way or another in order to stabilize them. We all have to be very careful about what we're doing with our money now, and it's important to get good advice so that our finances can be stabilized, because there could be a sudden upset in the financial markets or even a collapse of a financial institution. And we would want to not be bothered by that. And so I think there is a possibility that you're going to have to redo some of your investments in one way or another. And it might be to make them safer, or it might be in light of some priorities that may have changed for you. You may want to redo your investments because of that. And then Saturn in Aquarius is squaring your sun. And Uranus in Taurus is squaring that Saturn as well. So there are 3 planets in the fixed signs that are harshly aspecting the other 2 fixed signs, Leo and your sign, Scorpio. So I think that I'm not so certain that you will be affected by a betrayal because you have really great planets right behind your sun sign. The Sun, Venus, and Mercury in Libra are right behind your sun sign. If there is a betrayal somewhere in your life, Scorpio, it's going to do you a world of good. And it's actually going to make you happier. Because remember, these are from surrounding circumstances. I'm not saying that you're the person that's making the betrayal, but it still could happen right around you. It could happen in your workplace. It could happen because priorities change. It could happen because new management comes in and changes policies. And that would be changing staff. So, I mean, do you see what I mean by surrounding circumstances? But because Saturn in Aquarius is squaring your sun as well, and it's retrograde, it does indicate that you have to sort of redo your future plans. And it isn't just your financial plans, it's your future plans. And they can prove to be a little bit challenging right now, simply because the world is in a challenging situation. And people are in challenging situations. And so, if I were you, I would be pretty careful about things right now, Scorpio. And if you are thinking of, due to your changing priorities, realigning your investments, that's a good idea. If you need to get good advice, you should, because you would get good advice. Pluto is trining the moon in Uranus in Taurus. And then there is the possibility of a sudden upset. So a little betrayal, a sudden upset. Do you see what I mean by good intentions will meet resistance? That doesn't mean that it's really happening to you in a detrimental way. What it means is that things can be happening around you that affect you to the point of changing your priorities or changing the way you handle your money. Well, there's actually nothing wrong with that. That happens in life all the time. It may not happen often, but it does happen. And so I hope you adjust to that. And then remember the sympathetic friends that you have behind the scenes, because they do care about you quite a bit. And that can be very comforting. So you can enjoy that. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarius? Sagittarius. Well, Sagittarius, I feel like saying, you don't have too much time left. And that is because Jupiter, which is in Aries and is trining your sun, is just about to leave, and since it's retrograde, it will be going back into Pisces, which means that it will then begin to square your sun. And so right now, when it's still in Aries, I hope that you are looking for new things to do, or new travels to take, because your sign likes to travel. Or it can be that you, just like everybody else, Sagittarius, is having to adjust to changing conditions in the world. They're not things that you're in control of or anybody else is. They're things that are happening in surrounding circumstances, and they could affect us all. And perhaps if you meet resistance this week, it could be from some sort of a betrayal, or it could be from some sort of sudden upset, and it could affect all of us. And so, Sagittarius, you have a fine mind, and your ruler, Jupiter, has been trining your sun for a while. And that means that you probably have been thinking, of pretty high-minded things for a while. Your sign rules the courts, and it also rules higher education, and it rules people from foreign countries, and it rules large international bodies. And in a world that is looking more and more belligerent, like people who want to go to war, there have to be people that think beyond that want to settle matters, that will speak up and say, oh, your sign rules international law, that we all need to follow for the good of the human race. We need to follow international law, not thwart it. And so, Sagittarius, you could have been very quietly doing a lot of good thinking about the surrounding circumstances in the world. And you might have been thinking about that a little more than people realize. And that is because your fine mind is capable of that. Is capable of looking at all sides, and is capable of seeing, beyond the present moment. So I think that, Sagittarius, you should keep thinking like that. Instead of just thinking about the next thing you want to do, I hope that you devote part of your day, every day, to thinking about what is best for mankind. Because you have a mind that can reach up. Your sign rules religion and philosophy. You have a mind that can reach out and grasp higher thinking. And if the world gets any more belligerent, if there are any more people that want to go to war, we're going to need people like you to calm others down. And sooner or later, every war ends. And there's going to have to be some sort of settlement, legal settlement. And so keep thinking do your best, Sagittarius. Jupiter, when it comes into Pisces, will square your sun. That could make you a little overconfident. Could make you spend a little extra money, too. But you can't think all the time. You got to have a little bit of fun. So just realize that some things are going to change for you, but I don't really think that you're going to meet too much resistance. I mean, Mars in Gemini is squaring your sun. You need to stay away from angry people for sure. And then Neptune in Pisces is squaring your sun, which means you don't know who to trust all the time. So you just should proceed with caution, but do not stop thinking of larger issues, because it might be you that comes up with a pretty good answer. So I wish you the best of luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Capricorn. This is a wonderful time for you, Capricorn. You have Pluto, which is direct in your sign, and it is a planet of deep truth and psychological transformation and change based on the truth. And it is trining the exalted moon and Uranus in Taurus. So I think you might have your mind on money, Capricorn. And that could be on your investments. It could be on your career goals. And even if you're retired, you could be thinking about another career, Capricorn. Capricorns live such a long time, and they do enjoy doing some sort of work. Even if that work involves just a hobby, they tend to work at their hobby. And that's great. So you could do that. But this is also a very good time for people who have planets in the earth signs to try to stabilize their finances. And that means that you need to think a little bit more about your investments, your career goals, or your retirement plans. And you need to sort of make sure that your money is really safe or being handled by expert advisors. And you could do that, Capricorn. So this is just a time for you to check everything, make sure the money's all in the right place, and that for sure you're going to be following along with plans that you've had for a long time. You could do that. And if in the meantime you decide to turn a hobby into another career, you could do it, Capricorn, and you could afford it. That's the important thing. And so good luck to you, Capricorn. The aspects are very good right now. I'm not so sure you're going to meet too much resistance. There could be a betrayal around you, but I don't think that you're going to be directly involved in it. It could be around you, though, because Pluto is squaring Venus, and Pluto is in your sign. Venus is in Libra, and that's an indication of a betrayal. So it may be that you hear of a betrayal somewhere, but and it could be in surrounding circumstances. But as far as a sudden upset goes, I don't think there's going to be one for you, Capricorn, because Capricorns are so careful with their money. And I'm just saying, check it all again. Make sure that everything is secure. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, you know, it's a good news, bad news type of deal this time. And that is because the good news is yours is an air sign, and there are 5 planets trining each other in the air signs. So you have the backup of Mars in Gemini, which is trining Saturn in your sign. And then the Sun, Venus, and Mercury in Libra are also trining your sign. Your popularity could be increasing right now, Aquarius, which is very nice. And there could be sort of charming people that are attracted to you. Well, that's great. That would make you happy. But at the same time, that Uranus in Taurus, along with the exalted moon, and Uranus is retrograde, is squaring Saturn in your sign, which is also retrograde. The problem is Uranus and Saturn are exactly squaring each other, and they're both retrograde, and Taurus is a financial sign. I think, Aquarius, that there could be some lingering financial matter that has to either be revised or it's sort of coming due, and you'll have to handle it. And I suggest to you and everybody else to get some expert advice. Because if we want to stabilize our money in a shaky economic time, we're going to need good advice to do that. And you may need that, Aquarius. So that's fine. Just go ahead and get that good advice. That could really help you. Because you're going to benefit from the Grand Trine in air signs, which means that you have the ability to reach out and talk to other people, and they would be happy to hear from you as well. So, you know, you need to communicate. But as far as you just thinking, oh, I'll do this and that with my money, I wouldn't touch your money, Aquarius, until you have got very good advice and you really think it over first. Because you are somewhat subject to a sudden upset. And that could be in the financial markets. Now, it doesn't have to be anything you're doing. It can be in surrounding circumstances. It could be a bank that fails, or a financial institution, or some sudden fluctuation in the markets, you know, that create a sudden change in the value of your investment, something like that. So you have to be careful now. But it isn't, you can't sit home alone. Whatever problem you have, Aquarius, you need to get out and talk to people about it. Or if you have a great idea that you've had for a long time, you need to take the next step and go find some people that can help you with that. So I wish you the best of luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Pisces. This is a time, Pisces, with Neptune retrograde in your sign, that you can be fondly thinking of a wish or a dream or a hope that you've always had. And you could be saying to yourself, oh, when will it come true? Well, you got to wait a little longer, Pisces. And the reason why is that there aren't any other planets in the water signs. There's just Neptune in your sign. And it is retrograde. So I would say that you might have to look at your fond hope or wish or dream a little more realistically in terms of how much time you have for it, really, or how much money you want to spend on it, or how qualified are you to make it come true. Can you do that by yourself? Well, you know, I don't think that you can do it all by yourself right now, Pisces. I think that you need to draw on the things that make you very creative. Neptune is a creative planet. And this is the only time in all of our lives throughout the world that Neptune is going to be in Pisces. Neptune is such a slow mover that in our lifetimes, it's never going to get back to Pisces again. And so for you to be concentrating always on, always on doing your duty, always doing work, or maybe you've been so successful you don't have too many challenges to face anymore, and that maybe this dream you've had for a long time, maybe that's the next thing you want to do. But I would say, Pisces, you need to make sure that you've got other people on board with you. Or don't do it alone. Have others around. Share. Pisces rules charity. And Pisces rules forgiveness. And a Pisces is a mutable sign, tolerant. And so I don't think this is a very good time for you to let yourself be walked on. And I don't think you should be around aggressive people, because Mars in Gemini is squaring that Neptune. And these people could want to do harm to you. So no, you have to stay away from combative people or people who want to compete with you. That is not your kind of person, Pisces. So don't be around a competitor. So what you need to do, I think, is just withdraw a little bit and don't stay by yourself all the time, but be a little more realistic about that favorite dream of yours or whatever. I mean, is it time to make it come true now, Pisces? Well, maybe, if you can afford it. Is it sometime in the future that it will happen? Will you be better prepared then? Maybe, because financial markets are pretty iffy right now, and you may want to sort of stick to the straight and narrow if you have a job and just keep bringing in a paycheck. That's a pretty good idea, Pisces. But I think that you just have to be watching out for people who can be a little bit dangerous to you, and then not seclude yourself completely, but think a little bit more about developing a fond wish or hope or dream in a more practical way, in a more affordable way, or in something that doesn't exhaust you, maybe in a part-time way. And just think about how to arrange that in your life, Pisces, because that would be nice for you. Since yours is a double-bodied sign, it means you can do two different things. And you could handle two different things if you wanted to. And a lot of people do that. They have a job that they work at 40 hours a week, And then on the weekends, they go and work at their hobby. And they love it. You wonder when they ever get any rest. But they love it. And so that's something that you could devote yourself to, Pisces. So I wish you the best of luck. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see this show and read our blog on our website, starborninstitute.org, or I'd love to send it to you every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. if you subscribe to it on my Karen Campbell YouTube channel. Until then, I'll see you next week. Bye.